welcome to the Discerning Nerd. I'm your host, Will Allen, and with me, as always,
Michael Bryson.
All right, this week we are going to look at adaptations, specifically film adaptations. What's a good adaptation, what makes a bad adaptation, and why does the film industry keep doing horrible adaptations of basically everything?
Yeah, I would agree. There, I would say on average, 75% of film adaptations of another media are usually bad.
Yeah, and it break down more by media, you know, like comic books used to just always be awful.
Yeah.
Books are the only thing that really generally get, it's probably going to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be all right. But then again, you always have that subsect of society that are always telling you that you have to read the book because the book was better. And, like, we get it. We know. The book is better. I know.
The book is always better. A book is always going to tell a better story than a movie.
But
because
I don't
a book can
have to read a movie.
An infinite number of pages.
Yeah. There's no time limit
The
there.
story is literally as long as the author feels like it needs to be. And a lot of movies were like, oh, the book is better. Well, this movie was awful garbage and not because of things that it changed, so I don't want to read the book. You know, like, reading a Nicholas Sparks novel is not going to make me appreciate the film.
Yes, mainly because Nicholas Sparks is a hack, who's as formulaic as Dan Brown, but
Well, yeah.
incredibly emotionally exploitative.
Yeah, Nicholas Sparks can be summarized in 5 sentences. Boy and girl fall in love. One of them has fatal disease. They try to overcome it. They fail. Everyone is sad.
Yep, that's... I remember the only Nicholas Sparks movie, I guess, that I was ever originally like emotionally invested in was when my sister convinced me finally to watch A Walk to Remember. And at the end, I was just like, well, why did I watch this? Because now I'm just upset. That's all it did for me, is it just upset me.
Sorry, all I can think of is Remember Me. I don't know if that's a Nicholas Sparks movie or not, but
Is that the one with...
it's the one with
Robert Pattinson?
and he ends up in 9/11.
You know, let's just assume it's Nicholas Sparks, because it's the same damn thing. Like, if it wasn't Nicholas Sparks, it was clearly meant to be like one.
Yeah.
So we'll just assume.
It's Nicholas Sparks' fault.
yeah, it's...
You did this!
Yes. Well, he didn't do it, but he's damn sure responsible for it.
Yeah.
All right, I guess let's start, actually, since we already mentioned comic books, let's just go right into it, and let's talk about what DC and Marvel have done wrong and what they've done right, and specifically what DC has done super, super, totally more wrong, and what Marvel has in general done more right.
Well, I think, honestly, the big thing right now that's keeping them separate is Marvel is way more focused on adapting the core of the character.
Yes.
Like, you know, they made Captain America movies. The movie version of Captain America is supposed to be, how does Captain America act? What would this character do if we put him in situation X? What would he do in situation Y? Whereas the DC movies are obsessed with, this was a story we told that was successful. We need to put it on the screen, but tweak it so it's new and fresh, and everything they do to tweak it makes it worse.
It makes so much worse. Like, I don't want to, like, just harp on the whole Doomsday thing, but I get it. The 90s were a weird time for comic books with the Dark Age, and it's because of Spawn, honestly. Spawn ruined everything.
Well, it's Todd McFarlane.
Yeah, well, it was Image Comics. That was the problem.
Rob Liefeld.
Rob Liefeld. You know what? It's different.
His autobiography isn't just called Blood and Pouches. He's...
How many swords can one guy carry? Because if you ever look at the cover of War Child, the guy's got 12 pouches, no shirt, and I counted maybe 13 hilts. No blades that they're attached to, but the hilts are there.
Well, you gotta carry like 13 swords if you have a back that's literally 6 feet across.
Why does every one of Liefeld's characters wear like a kickboxing helmet? What is that?
He hates eyes. He hates feet.
Okay, no Liefeld today.
If he can't put muscles on it, he doesn't care about it.
I will have a fucking stroke if we sit here all night and talk about Rob Liefeld, because he is responsible for a lot of what I detest in comic books now. So we have got to talk about movies.
Yes. And ironically, there weren't a whole lot of comic book movies in the 90s. Wonder why.
Yeah, there was...
Can you imagine if they had tried really hard, though, if there was a Youngblood movie?
Oh, God, or Jesus... Well, they did Spawn, and it was awful. It was wretched.
Yeah, and they did Steel with Shaq.
God, no. Oh, no.
No, there were no good superhero movies in the 90s
No.
from beginning to end because Batman came out in 89 and Spider-Man came out in 01.
God. Okay. So yeah. We're gonna look then. Let's talk about DC first, since they, generally speaking, they screw the pooch a lot, and
Which is so frustrating because all of their TV output, the cartoons and their live action,
phenomenal,
are good,
phenomenal. And it just seems like in an episodic format, they're able to take any story, adapt it, even change it. Now, the one thing I will say is I don't think Smallville belongs in that. I think Smallville
was good for 3 seasons, and then they forgot what the premise of Smallville was, and it just turned into Superman, but he can't wear his costume or fly.
Yeah, and you know why though? It wasn't because they weren't going to put him in it. It's because the actor refused to wear it because he didn't want to be Superman for the rest of his life.
Too bad.
Then it turns out that's the only thing anybody wanted him to do.
Yeah, what have you done since then, Tom Welling? Nothing.
Boom!
What did Brandon Routh do when he was in an abysmal Superman movie? He decided to then go be the Atom on TV. So, he's
Boom.
good again.
Yeah.
Also, he was in Scott Pilgrim, and I'll thank him for that.
Yeah, that's always good. If you look
he
at
got arrested by the vegan police.
It's the best. The thing is, if you look at their track record, they've got... it was 8 Batman movies, and was it 7 Superman movies? And we're not counting Batman versus Superman, even though that is an atrocious film.
That is the first Justice League movie.
Yes, that's the first Justice League movie. So we're talking about just standalone Batman or Superman movies. You've got 8 Batman films on record. I think 7. It might be 6, but I'm pretty sure there was an old black and white one way back in the day. Superman movies.
There was a serial. Because there's 2 Batman serials, too, but those don't count.
Yeah, so we'll talk about the Adam West Batman movie. Was good for the wrong reasons, but it's still enjoyable.
It was exactly what it should have been.
Exactly. It's
which was
tongue-in-cheek.
the 66 Batman TV show as a movie.
It even has a disclaimer at the beginning to let people know that, like, teenagers are going to make out during this movie, so there you go. It's there. Swear to God, go watch it.
And Batman will look at the screen and judge them. Which he does.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
I love Adam West.
And you should love Adam West. But, that one was...
No, everyone latches onto that.
Know?
You know what the best line in that whole film is? Is after the Dolphins kamikaze the torpedoes. And Robin just goes, the nobility of the almost human porpoise.
Oh, God, okay.
Which, I love that, because the only 2 explanations I've ever been able to come up with in my mind for that scene were, 1, Aquaman did it.
Yeah, right? It's just no mention.
Or 2, that movie is set in the same universe as The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
So long and thanks for all the fish.
So they knew it was coming,
God.
and they just decided to end it.
All right. Well, if you look at Batman movies, the ones that are legitimately good, pretty much Tim Burton's 1989 Batman. I'll give Batman Forever a half pass.
Yeah, Val Kilmer is really good in that movie.
Yes, even though he's a lunatic, he was good in that movie. Yeah. And I will say that Jim Carrey was a good Riddler. I didn't
that
like
character
Tommy Lee Jones.
Should have been the Joker, but he was dead, so...
Exactly. So there you go. But... overall, it was a decent enough film. And then we know that Batman Returns and Batman and Robin were crapshoots. And then if you look at the Dark Knight trilogy, I'll say that Batman Begins was a great starting point. It wasn't fantastic, but it was good. It was solid. It was solid. And then the Dark Knight, though, riddled with glaring inconsistencies and plot holes, is still great. And it's one of the most well-acted superhero films I've ever seen.
And I'm not super fond of either of those films, but it's for decisions made about pre-existing characters that I didn't like, not because the films were bad.
Exactly. It's like, I love Heath Ledger's acting job as the Joker. I don't like his portrayal of I don't like that Joker.
And it's the same, the way Ra's al Ghul was written was super exactly how Ra's al Ghul would act. I didn't like that he was white.
Yeah.
And then still managed to have a Middle Eastern daughter in the third one.
Yeah, he's walking away from that one, don't we?
Who stole Bane's backstory?
Yeah, and that brings us to the Dark Knight Rises. For all that it brings up a lot of the points and closes a lot of the stories from the Dark Knight, it's not a good movie. Because it has even more plot holes. It has characters behaving in completely ridiculous ways. It plays with canon in a way that I can accept a lot of canon play. That was too much. That was way too much. At that point, Bane shouldn't have even been in the movie.
Yeah, like Bane didn't need to be there. If they were going to have a character play the Robin role, why not make him one of the pre-existing 5 options?
Oh my
for
God!
Robin?
Yes, because
it could have been Tim. It could have been Dick. It could have been Jason. It could have been Damien. That character could have been a girl, and it could have been Stephanie Brown.
Yep.
But no, they just made someone up.
Yeah, exactly. And at the end, they're like, "Oh, why don't you go by your name, Robin?" And everyone's just supposed to look at each other and go, "Ah!" Like, no, that is contrived
Audibly
and silly
in the
and stupid.
theater, everyone in my theater went, "Oh!"
And you can't. And that's another one is you can't have a guy becoming Robin after Batman is already fucking retired. That doesn't make any sense.
But, their thing was it was supposed to be, oh, he's going to become the new Batman. Then he should have been Terry McGinnis.
Thank you. He should. And that I would have been down on that. I would have been totally down on that. But no, it's just they fucked with it. They fucked with it so hard. It was really upsetting to me. Like, it got to me bad.
And they made Bane a character who is badass but ludicrous into a. He went from being a jacked up 12-foot tall luchador murder machine to you merely adopted the darkness.
Yeah,
he's born into it.
He's supposed to be.
I like Tom Hardy.
I love Tom Hardy. He's a great actor, but when you
do that.
Yes, that voice made him sound like Sean Connery who needed a rescue inhaler. Like, that's it. Literally, just, and everyone does. Like, we all do our own Bane voice.
And he's so clearly. And the thing I never understood, he's clearly being pitched up in post. Because, look at Mad Max. His voice is way deeper.
Yes. and there's no mention of the Venom. There's all sorts of stuff they just threw aside. And then you're right. And then.
Well, they were trying to.
Talia got.
The downfall of the Dark Knight trilogy is in their quest to make everything quote unquote realistic. They had to take away too much of what made all the characters.
Yeah, and what made them so fun, because part of what makes Batman so amazing is this fantastic noir gothic story. We want that. The city is called Gotham, for God's sake.
And all of his villains are ridiculous, and they have weird superpowers. The whole point of Batman is he punches outside of his weight class all the time.
That is literally the draw of Batman.
That's how he's the opposite of Superman. Superman is a godlike being who never fights anything on his level because he can't. Except for very rare occasions, which are, without exception in the comics, world-ending issues.
Yes.
Because, Batman and the Joker having a fist fight, obviously Batman's going to win. Joker's his one nemesis who doesn't, have crazy plant powers.
Yeah, or something weird.
An entire gang of
criminals.
Or
giant undead man.
Yeah. But, Superman punches robots. I'm fine with that.
Exactly. And that brings me to why Superman as films didn't work.
And just so Superman frustrates me even more because they got it exactly right the first time.
Christopher Reeve.
Yeah,
Superman, the first one. It was great. It was perfect. It was Superman. He's out there. He's inspirational. He's flying around doing his Superman shit. And the only way a mortal man can get one over on him is to be a dastardly bastard. And that's...
I, Lex Luthor, greatest criminal mind of our generation.
Gene Hackman is amazing. Don't you dare. See, I feel like that's what I liked about it is they were channeling the.
That's like the 40s Luthor.
The Super Friends cartoon Luthor with the X-shaped bandolier over his purple shirt.
Oh,
was he even?
That was straight out of the comics.
What I'm saying was, at that point, was that Lex Luthor in the cartoon? Did they ever make a mention of him being a businessman?
No, the businessman thing came from the Superman movie.
Oh, I did not. That's amazing.
And then when they did Crisis on Infinite Earths, when they rebooted the DC universe the first time, with the good time.
Yeah, the good
he
time.
became a high-powered,
That is
genius.
amazing. That's actually Gene Hackman, thank you. But, I mean, that's the first time they did it right. But after that,
Superman 2 The Richard Donner cut of it is a good movie.
Yes,
The
but
theatrical cut is an okay movie.
yeah, it's just not. There's a
Kneel
lot
before
missing.
Zod. That's all you need.
Kneel before Zod. Zod is a great character in and of himself. He really is. He's a great character. But then Superman 3 got weird with it, and Superman 4 got bad. Just bad.
Yeah. And then Superman Returns was boring.
Yeah, that's my thing.
Not bad. It's just boring.
What and they went so hardcore on the Jesus imagery that they made Spider-Man 2 look tame.
It's not as hardcore as Batman versus Superman went
Yes.
on the Jesus imagery.
Agreed. But, what we want in a Superman movie is we want Superman punching the shit out of things that other people can't punch.
And saving people.
Saving people! Why isn't Superman in these Superman movies fucking saving people?
The best moment of the big fight in Batman vs. Superman is Superman punching Doomsday into the abandoned warehouse district or wherever the hell they were, and they state in the film, there are no people here. Let's do this.
Well, because a huge criticism of Man of Steel was that Superman caused wanton destruction with almost no regard for innocent life, which is so not Superman.
I've been on the side of that wasn't so much Superman causing it as
Yes.
Zod causing it and Superman failing to stop it.
And that's the thing is, he shouldn't have failed to stop it. He shouldn't have. That's the whole point, is that Superman, the reason it's hard to be Superman is because you, as Superman, must defeat the world-ending threat and save all the people.
Yes, but this is a version of Superman who had Pa Kent tell him, no, you can't be Superman, you can't be freaky, it's weird.
Which, that's not Jonathan Kent. That's not what he says.
I'm going
It's
to
not
walk
what he
into a
does.
tornado and you have to watch me. And not sit. No. Stop
No,
it.
do some Superman shit. Like, this is literally what you do.
Punch the tornado or fly it backwards around it to disperse it.
That's what Superman did. That's Superman shit. That's the point. But and that was and then what they did to Doomsday. The whole point of Doomsday is that he is this unknowable, adversary who is limitless, like Superman is. Superman is limitless, and that's why Doomsday is so dangerous for him. Is because he is equally limitless. And it was just silly. And I have to say this, as I've said it 1,000 times, in Man of Steel, there's this whole existential crisis he goes through that carries over into Batman v Superman, where he killed Zod. And it's why he has a no-killing rule.
And honestly, everyone got up in arms. Superman will totally kill people if it's too dangerous to let them live. He killed Doomsday in the comic book, and he makes a decision in the comic book. We can't stop this thing peacefully. I have to kill him.
In the animated series, until Batman stopped him, he had every intention to kill Darkseid. Mm-hmm. Now, that one episode in the Justice League, he had every intention to kill Darkseid until Batman stopped him, because Batman has the no-killing.
Yeah, I would say Superman doesn't have a no-killing rule. Superman doesn't kill people because he doesn't find it necessary.
Bingo, because he can detain them otherwise.
Yeah.
But,
Batman needs a no-killing rule because he will totally kill people.
Yeah. But the thing is, for me, like I said, he broke Zod's neck. That was it. He broke Zod's neck to keep him from lasering
Children.
All right? If he had enough strength to turn Zod's neck the opposite direction Zod was trying to turn it, hard enough to break his neck and kill him, could he not have merely lifted the man's chin?
Yeah, I don't know.
And that's another thing, is they make no attempt for any sort of logical consistency. And that annoys me.
Well, they have a whole fight in Kansas just so they can destroy the product placement.
Yeah.
Take that, Lowe's!
And, that's... I'm going to drop in on the Green Lantern movie right quick, because we're just going to say they did everything wrong in the Green Lantern movie.
Yeah, except hiring Ryan Reynolds.
Yep.
That was the right thing.
Phenomenal. Hal Jordan, specifically. But that is a terrible movie. They made every decision incorrectly. And for the record, for your teaser at the end, if you threw the entity of fear, which, by the way, surprise villain, it's one of the greatest things the Green Lantern Corps ever had to grapple with. Don't do that first movie. Don't ever do that first movie. But if you threw the entity of fear into the sun, what the fuck is powering the yellow ring that Sinestro takes? What Anybody want to give me some no? Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Although I guess Ryan Reynolds can't complain because I'm pretty sure he met his wife making that movie.
Yeah.
Okay, Ryan Reynolds, stop it. You were married to Scarlett Johansson, now you're married to Blake Lively.
Yeah, quit
You
it.
have the perfect life.
Yeah, and he's funny. If he can cook, god damn it. Like, just, what am I even doing here?
So basically what we're saying, earlier, as of right now, Suicide Squad isn't out yet, but the reviews are, and it's not very good. Wonder Woman better be goddamn amazing.
Yeah, and I doubt it, so we're just going to walk past it. But, let's look at what Marvel did right.
Well, let's look at first what they didn't do right.
Yeah.
Because, I mean...
Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four.
Now, this is before Marvel had its own movie-making studio, but it still had creative input.
Well, the Fantastic Four was especially strange because Fox was making all their movies at that point.
Mm-hmm.
They had made Spider-Man and Spider-Man
Yep.
2, which are both good movies. X-Men and X-Men 2, which are good movies. And then, as soon as X-Men 2 came out, Fox just decided to not try anymore, I guess.
Yeah, X3 was
X3
god-awful.
sucks. Spider-Man 3 is ridiculous and terrible.
Horrible.
Both Fantastic Four movies are awful.
I mean, really, really, really bad.
X-Men Origins Wolverine is unwatchable.
Yeah, completely. I can't even... I'm gonna get upset. Like, that's because X-Men was my shit when I was a kid, and the fact that they ruined it just hits
Ang
me.
Lee's Hulk.
Ugh.
Because, when I think the Hulk, I think of a naked Hulk punching dogs.
And you know what the worst part about it was? It literally... Okay, and this is what I will say. While the Edward Norton Hulk film, wasn't great, it gave me what I wanted from a Hulk film.
I only had one demand for a Hulk movie when I went to see Ang Lee's Hulk. And that was Hulk said, Hulk smash.
And Hulk smash! Hulk has to say Hulk smash, and then Hulk must smash!
He said nothing. The only thing he said in the Edward Norton one was Hulk smash.
He said something in the Eric Bana one, the Ang Lee one. It was take it all. When the dude was trying to steal all of his mojo.
Yeah,
take it all!
When his insane father was eating electricity.
He who fights monsters, doomed to become... Shut up. I don't give a shit. But in the Edward Norton one,
yes.
it wasn't the best put together film, but it was competent. And then right near the end, I'm thinking this whole time, please. And then that moment, Tim Roth has got you by the neck, and he says to you, any last words?
Yeah, everyone in the theaters, say it.
And I almost had a boner. It was coming so bad. He was just, Hulk smash! And then the very next thing Hulk did was smash. And that's all I wanted. You can't give me a movie with the Hulk where the Hulk doesn't smash. That's all the Hulk does.
And although to make it up for us, when he was in Avengers, Hulk did nothing but smash.
Hulk just smashed. Every time the Hulk was there, he just smashed the living shit out of everything. That's all I wanted.
I cannot explain how excited I am for Thor Ragnarok, because they basically confirmed it's World War Hulk, but Thor is there.
Yeah, it's like buddy cop.
Yes.
Like Hulk and Thor. It's Starsky and Hutch, but it's Hulk and Thor in space.
It's the best thing.
That I want that so badly. I wanted it. Oh God.
Plus, Thor needs a good third movie.
Yes, because
Thor 2 is okay.
Dark World was competent, but lacking. That was it.
I just want frickin' Kat Dennings to go away.
Yeah, I like Kat Dennings, but she needs to be quiet.
No, what kills me in Thor 2 is when they're doing the whole chasing the hammer around, and they're like, oh, Darcy, Jane, Professor, it's like, you're supposed to be like a science intern.
Yeah, you should know how to pronounce Mjolnir.
So stupid.
Mjolnir. It's basically a Scandinavian dude's first name. If you can pronounce Bjorn, you're good.
No one else has any trouble saying it.
No. If you have ever been to the Midwest, then you can pronounce Mjolnir. Because everyone out there's last name is like Gnungerson. You should know this. I'm just saying.
The point we're trying to make is Marvel adapts the core concepts of the character perfectly, and then creates a new story around
Yes,
that core
a new
concept.
story that might be based on an existing story, but,
like
it's not
loosely.
Yes,
at
exactly.
best.
Because like the way they're doing the Infinity Stones for the Infinity Gauntlet, that's not really how they did a lot of them.
It involves completely different characters. Granted, that's because they can't use any of the X-Men characters.
Or the Fantastic Four.
So they can't use Galactus, they can't use the Shi'ar Empire,
Yep.
which is a real problem now that they're using the Kree Empire. But
Just
they're trying.
were they using Kree? I thought they used the Chitauri.
Kree were in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh right, that's who that was. Speaking of Guardians of the Galaxy, I just want to mention this. Like, are we going to see Whistle Needle Man again?
Yes? Yondu?
Yeah,
Dude, in
I'm
the
just making
comics,
sure.
he was one of the Guardians of the
Yeah,
Galaxy.
because like I feel like he didn't get enough screen time, and he's clearly OP as shit. Like that dude rules.
Dude, Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm so happy did well because...
Oh, man.
And
I
granted,
needed that.
the Suicide Squad movie only exists because of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Bingo.
But it's given them confidence to go with less major characters, which is why we're getting a Captain Marvel movie.
Yes, and it's the female Captain. It's the Ms. Marvel Captain Marvel.
Yeah, it's Carol Danvers.
Oh, that's so good. It's
Which
gonna be
also
so good.
means they snatched her away from the X-Men movies.
And we're also going to get the Ant-Man Wasp movie, which I'm
Yes.
excited about because I love
Which is super
Ant-Man.
cool, because it's going to be, what's-her-face, Hope Van Dyne is
Yeah.
going to be the Wasp. Which is cool, because they've established that Janet is dead?
Well, it's impossible to find, but the point is...
She's gone.
They've already established, and the fact that her and Scott Lang already have that romantic connection too, it's going to be great.
And doing that, they avoid the stigma of Hank Pym wife beater.
Yes, thank you. I will question this, though, is the introduction of Doctor Strange. If he is as powerful as he is in the comics, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they're gonna have to do something to nerf him a bit before the final battle, because almost every villain, like, their first step in any big story, like massive
Is
crossover,
take out Doctor
is like
Strange.
incapacitated, because he's like Dr. Fate. He can blow away the cosmos in a fart. Like, this is not a guy you tarry with. Like,
They'll probably, since they're doing his origin story in
Just say he's
contemporary
not
times,
full
he's
power.
not. He's like brand new Sorcerer Supreme. It's
yeah, he
not,
doesn't know what he's doing yet.
He hasn't
and I'll
been,
accept that.
He hasn't been there for a while.
And I love Bendy Cricket Cucumber Sandwich.
Yes.
I love that guy. Scissor Kick Thundercats is one of my favorite actors. Yeah, but Marvel gets a lot right. And
even the stuff they get wrong is way less wrong than the stuff DC
yes.
gets wrong.
And it's a lot of stuff that I can forgive. Because it's not necessarily playing with canon, because they'll play with canon with the story, and I'm okay with that. They don't play with canon in the characters, which is the thing that pisses me off.
Well, it's like things I find mildly irritating are like Marvel's war against blonde people. Every character that's supposed to be blonde has brown hair in Marvel movies. I don't
Just
know why.
walk away.
It's weird.
I cannot talk about Batman shit anymore, because it's going to make me mad.
All right, let's talk about books to films adaptations.
Yeah, we're specifically young adult novels.
I don't know who invented this money, like, bulldozer.
I'm going to start naming shit that just happened after Harry Potter. We're going to go with Percy Jackson, His Mortal Instruments, Twilight, Hunger Games, Maze Runner, Divergent.
Fifth Wave.
What the fuck is that?
Lady Peregrine's School for Unusual Youngsters, or whatever the hell that's
Wait, was that a
called.
book?
Yeah, it's
Is
a
that
book series.
Oh, shit.
Dude, if it comes out and it's rated PG-13 and it looks like some quirky shit,
It's a book series.
It's a book
Yeah,
series.
Oh, my God. So, okay, see, I thought that was just going to be Tim Burton returning to form and not giving us Johnny Depp. Now you're telling me that I'm going to have to sit through 7 of those to actually get an interesting story?
I think there's only 4 right now, so...
Oh, right now. A series of unfortunate events.
They're rebooting that.
Of course they are. Why wouldn't they? Jesus.
But although, you know who's replacing Jim Carrey?
Oh.
Freaking Doogie Howser.
Wait, seriously?
Yes.
All right, I'll take that. That's
Yeah.
all right. If anybody could do a Count Olaf as good as Jim Carrey could, it's NPH.
Yeah.
So I'll totally take that. But for these, the biggest one with them, the biggest gripe I have is that if they're ever good, they're good for their first, maybe second installment, if they're good at all. And then they peter out at the end because they split the final movie into two.
Yep.
Which stretches the story beyond legitimate limits. Like, you can't... There's not enough
And again,
there.
that was entirely done because of two franchises. It was done because of Harry Potter, and it was done because of The Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
Both of which had legitimate reasons for doing it. Lord of the Rings, 3 movies, 3 books. Fair enough. Harry Potter, the final book in the Harry Potter series is like 800 pages long.
Well, the problem with that is that
And
while...
and unlike the other two 800-page books, they couldn't cut huge sections of it out.
Exactly, because everything in that book is important. Also, they had to kind of add in some story elements that they'd cut out of previous movies.
That turned out to be really important.
Because J.K. Rowling, while she was writing... she was writing the books while the movies were still being made, and she couldn't, without spoiling for the general public, just come out and say, no, you can't cut Creature as a character because he's really important later. She just had to cryptically go like, do not cut Creature. But there's other things they had to cut, but they had to kind of toss those elements back in.
Yeah. Like the mirror that Aberforth uses to find Harry. That's established in the 5th book in a scene that got cut out of the movie.
Yeah, so later... it doesn't really make a lot of sense when Harry has a shard of the mirror, but they still had to include that piece because it's really important. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of it about the final confrontation and destroying of the Horcruxes where you just can't cut that shit.
Although I will give them a little stick. I didn't really think Harry and Voldemort needed to have this super complicated teleporting punch duel.
No, but...
they could have just had a wand laser fight.
Yes, but there's just enough DBZ left in me to want that. And it's okay. But it was necessary. But now, since we mentioned The Lord of the Rings, we of course, in the same breath, we have to mention The Hobbit.
That was not necessary.
Why?
2 movies were probably necessary.
Maybe. But that's only with folding in, like, extra stuff from the appendices.
Because as soon as they made it clear they were going to adapt the stuff with the necromancer...
exactly.
Okay, it's going to take
subplot.
2 movies.
That's fine.
And we have to get frickin', Bumper Crunch Tree Cat in the movie. A second time.
What was his favorite? Bendy Dick, come on my maps?
Yep. That's what his friends at school called him.
I fucking love that guy. He must have been on Sesame Street at least once, right? I think everyone's appeared, right? As a guest spot.
Just come on, I have a silly name. Sometimes people teased me for it.
Yeah, he needs so that little girls named Regina Tucker don't have to deal with that for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, or your little buddy Richard Pound and
oh yeah, or Lance, just any kid named Lance.
Yeah, it's like if you meet a kid named Chad, befriend him. He probably doesn't have any.
Poor guy. Or Thad, Tad. They're not going to have friends until they're 19. Bruh. Tanner. I have known one Tanner my entire life, and I'm sorry if you're listening and you recognize that it's you, but you were a cock.
Someday I'm gonna sit down and write the book that I always wanted to write.
No!
And it's gonna have a fraternity, and everyone in that fraternity is gonna have one of those names.
Yeah,
There's gonna be a guy named Fletcher.
Bryce.
Yeah.
2 guys named Tanner. I just realized I worked with one somewhere, and I'm sorry if it's you, but you were also a cock.
So and you have to have cocks. Like 2 guys with the same ridiculous name. Like you find it's like you have like Armstrong, like C, and Armstrong D.
Wait, your first name is Armstrong? Yeah, bro, because my strong is in my arms, bro. 2 tickets to the gun show. Smooch, smooch. What's up?
But the other one is the token fat kid, so...
Yeah, the other one. Oh, yeah, it was a family name. He's in because his dad's legacy. Like, that's the only reason.
What were we talking about?
Young adults and The Hobbit, and yeah, but it clearly didn't need... It didn't need 3 films, obviously. And what makes that an unsuccessful adaptation was mainly the fact that they weren't really true to the books that much at all anyway.
Yeah, like that big orc wasn't even in the book. Like, he was already dead.
Azog, yeah, he was way dead. He was way, way, way dead.
Legolas wasn't... Well, technically he was there.
No, he was not.
He is in one sentence of the book. Because when they meet the Elf King, they say that his, like, princes are there with him. One of those, as established in Lord of the Rings, had to have been Legolas because he's a prince.
Agreed. Still, he was shoehorned in to get star power for like the finish of the series because it wasn't doing well.
And they couldn't put in anybody else because Frodo's in the start of the first one. He was the one they couldn't find a reason to fit in the outside of it.
Yeah.
Although they didn't put Aragorn or Gimli in the movie either, and nobody cared. So
yeah, it's one of those things, you know, and you know, we're going to talk about this, the overuse of CGI, because Sir Ian McKellen, goddamn Gandalf, that man is a legend and a wonder and a marvel, and he is a phenomenal actor, and he was reduced to tears because there's a shot of him behind the scenes losing his fucking mind on the crew because he's acting in front of just green stuff.
He's in an adult, like a human-sized hobbit house, and everything's covered in green screen paint.
Yeah, and
because they filmed the hobbits at a different time, or the dwarves at a different time.
And just put them in.
And he's got some fucking tennis balls and people yelling their lines from off camera.
It's utterly ridiculous, and he hated it. He was like, this isn't how you make a movie. This isn't acting. What is this?
Oh, man, he must have had some... I wonder if Christopher Lee just came up and he's like, you think that was bad? I was in Star Wars. I've seen the behind-the-scenes of the prequel trilogy. Those films legitimately didn't have sets. They had, like, a floor and all of the props, and everything else was green screen.
It still doesn't match how Nicolas Cage, like, did Ghost Rider. We, like, painted his face.
I just assumed he painted his own face green.
Yeah, no. He didn't even paint it green. He painted it black with, like, white voodoo skull lines and just shouted at people.
So how's that different from how Nicolas Cage normally acts?
He normally doesn't paint his face.
Yeah, that's what it is. I can't picture Nicolas Cage getting upset about having to act on a green screen. Because you know in the mind of Nicolas Cage, there is no green screen. He's there.
No, it's a paycheck. It's when he because he's the kind of guy that back in the day, he would just walk into a Lamborghini dealership, couldn't decide which one to go, both! And then when they're like, you don't have any money left, he's like, better be in The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Like that.
Which is like, actually... Nicolas Cage, we have concern about your behavior. Fuck off, I named my son Kal-El.
Yep, I know. Oh, poor guy.
And he pronounces it wrong.
Yeah, it's Kal-El.
Kal-El. There's a fucking dash that tells you where the glottal stop is.
Yeah, not Kal-El. But, you know, and that's that thing, though, is that with all that CGI, it was meant to make it look more real, but it looks less real, and the actors don't look like they're acting towards anything, so it's not actually a well-acted film.
Well, yeah, and, like, honestly, my favorite part of the whole trilogy is Radagast the Brown, because Sylvester McCoy at some point has just given up caring, so he's having the best time.
Dude, okay, I will say this.
No, that was his career resurgence.
Yes.
I used to be Doctor Who, now I'm a wizard.
Whee! Yeah, literally, like, the moment he went, because, what's the name of the actual, like, place? I can't remember the name of the forest he lives.
I don't remember. All I remember is him just going, These aren't rabbits. They're Roscabel rabbits.
That shit. That moment I was like, that guy's just having so much fun. That's all he's doing.
He doesn't even see the rest of the people.
No,
he is alone in a room.
Yes,
screaming.
You know, that's actually exactly probably what happened when he was trying to act in that movie, as referenced by Sir Ian McKellen's breakdown. You know, but you know, and that's the thing, is the movie ended up looking more fake with better effects.
Well,
because you didn't use practical effects.
Also, it was because they filmed at 60 frames per second and didn't, like, adjust the CGI to match that.
Yeah, so it looks blurry almost.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it constantly, with doing that, they wanted to do things really over the top and above and beyond, which makes a lot of the stuff where people would normally be horrendously injured just break my willing suspension of disbelief, when so much care and detail went into the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Although it did explain why they couldn't just ride the Eagles to Mordor. Because the Eagles are dicks.
Well, yeah, it's they've specifically been banned by their creators from interfering. And that's important. And plus, if they were to go, Sauron would have noticed them immediately and killed them.
Yes, with his giant laser tower.
Yeah, and so the reason they couldn't, and the reason they couldn't interfere, and the reason they could go pick him up is at that point Sauron is destroyed.
He's gone. They're saving Frodo and Sam. They're not interfering. They're just saving the heroes.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that every single individual piece of armor in the original Lord of the Rings, handcrafted. And while they put that amount of detail into The Hobbit, they did it in weird places.
Well, no, they also latched onto the wrong things from the Lord of the Rings, because, like, things that the two trilogies have in common: dramatic moments with opera singing.
Yes.
Because anytime, like, it happened like 3 times in Lord of the Rings, but in The Hobbit, constantly it's like, we're gonna go over the waterfall.
Man, Andre Bocelli, you are not.
I'm not in ya.
No, but I completely agree with you. They latch onto the wrong things. They're like, people liked our attention to detail. So instead of doing that for like creating a bunch of really good props and sets and costumes, they're like, there are 20,000 individual hairs in this dwarf beard.
Yeah.
I don't care about the dwarf beard. The dwarves, by the books, should all look the fucking same.
Yeah. Honestly, if you go by the way The Hobbit's written, Bifur, Bombur, Philly, and Killy aren't really that distinguishable from Dopey, Sneezy, and Doc.
Yeah, they're the same fucking guys. And so, and that was the dwarves got all this screen time and all this story and
then sexy dwarves.
Yeah, they made and you mentioned this to me before, but I completely agree with you. Why are the dwarves that are important the handsome ones?
Yeah.
Because the ugly dwarves don't do anything.
Hell, one of them doesn't even talk. The one who's got like an axe in his head.
Yeah. Dopey.
Yeah, Dopey.
I'm sorry, Doporin. My bad.
I am Dopey, son of Mopey.
But after the great battle, they called him Dopey Stone Sword. He slayed the witch with a boulder. It was the only weapon he had.
And forever hence did that boulder lie attached to his belt. They're running into battle. He's like 100 yards behind them, dragging this boulder.
That guy never skips leg day. But yeah, there's a clear divide on what those did right and what they did wrong, obviously. And a big part of it was that it just seemed to be that they cared about making a good movie, but they cared about making money. The second time, it's
the making money is what kills like Twilight. All 5 Twilight movies suck.
Oh God!
But
I could at least give them a pass.
The 4th one is extra shit because it's only half of a story that didn't need 2 hours to tell itself.
Yeah, it's the same problem with the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1. It's that you have to sit through that movie in order to watch the one after it. But seriously, look up a plot summary because you're going to waste your fucking time sitting through the movie.
Yeah.
It has like maybe 2 relevant plot points, and that's it. And they spend 2 hours to tell you 2 things.
Yeah. And I will always have a mild affection for Breaking Dawn Part 2 because of one thing. Was I went and saw it in the theater with a platonic female friend, and we were the only not couple in that theater.
I'm sorry.
It was all couples. I was about as engaged as the rest of the boyfriends. Until we get to the giant battle scene at the end where they kill all of the evil vampires and some of the werewolves and stuff die, and it's like, yay, we won, but tragedy because our friends. And then it's not real.
Oh, and everyone in the theater
boyfriend is just, no!
Yeah. Suck a dick! Yeah, and it's just, yes! We were right all along! They were playing you for fools. They took your money and then they gave you a German I love you with a big fucking shit on your chest.
And apparently, that's still better than the book where that doesn't happen. They just have the everyone stands in a field and talks and walks away.
Yeah. Which is not,
that's not how you end the climactic confrontation your entire
epilogue
book series has been leading to.
Yeah, jeez, man.
Although, I would pay to watch a movie about the Volturi. Just the Volturi.
Yeah, essentially, if they need to make a series, right? It's basically The Sopranos.
Even if it's just like a web series of 5-minute episodes, then it's just Ara walking around. No, bring him closer. I wish to look upon him. He's hideous. Eat him. Like what? That's how he talks. He's the best character in the entire series because it's just Michael Sheen going, "How gay can I be?"
He is just the.
When
fop.
Is the director going to tell me to
the fop?
It's like he had to just be going, when's the director going to tell me to stop? And the director never did.
I feel like
His reaction to the freaking half vampire girl.
That's seriously what he sounds like.
Yeah, have you not
Jesus
watched them?
Christ. I didn't pay attention. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that to myself.
It's the best.
I feel like if you gave him enough movies, he would just become Vincent Price. Like, you would just walk in at one point, just, excuse me, I was wondering if anyone was going to drain the blood from these innocents.
Oh no, not me. Leave that to my associate Raoul.
Shut up. If anyone here has never listened to the James Adomian stand-up special, Low Hanging Fruit, you are missing out, and for shame. But yeah, and then they have a lot of young adult series that just never get off the ground. Like,
Quickly, we must bring in my greatest ally, Scooby-Doo.
Jesus,
He did that.
Yes, he was the Scooby-Doo
The
mystery.
13 Ghosts
yeah.
of Scooby-Doo.
Oh.
With Flim Flam.
We're shutting up now. We're shutting up.
He's worse than Haji.
He's worse than Hachi. But nobody's better than Vincent Price, and I just wanted to say that. I just felt like I should get that on the record. But like Divergent was never good. Maze Runner was never good.
Divergent did so badly in the theaters.
Yep.
Its part 2 of its final movie is premiering as a made-for-TV flick.
Twilight. I will say Twilight was never actually good, but plenty of people liked it, so I'll give you that one. But his Mortal Instruments was never good.
Also,
Percy Jackson was decent for a first film, and they could have saved it with a good second film,
which
but they
pisses
fucking
me
didn't.
off because the books are really good.
Fantastic. Right up there with Harry Potter on quality. They're so good.
And I'm even more impressed. I read them. I'm an adult and I still read them, and they're written for a younger age group than Harry Potter is. Like Harry Potter,
but they don't treat you like you're stupid.
because Harry Potter's the 12 to 15.
Yeah.
Percy Jackson's like the 8 to 12.
Yeah, I know.
They're great.
Mm-hmm.
Also, they get really violent.
Yeah, it's they grow with the audience, much like Harry Potter did. Other notable adaptations, though, that some of us like or dislike. We have to bring up The Last Airbender because we can't not.
Because it's the nadir.
Yeah, it's just, what the hell?
It's the only adaptation I can think of that, with no exaggeration, literally everything is wrong.
Yes. Because M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong just, he defends it. He defends it by saying that he was making a movie for his children, really, and his children were incredibly young.
Well, what I learned from that is he hates his children.
Hates them. Hates his children.
Hates them a lot.
Totally hates them.
Also, for a man of color, he despises minorities, apparently.
Yes, he whitewashed the whole fucking cast. It's just white people. Why?
And then he
it's literally 0 people in Avatar are supposed to be white.
And he got so pretentious about some of his changes too. It's like, I changed the character's name, the pronunciation of the characters' names, because that's more true to the Asiatic origins of their names. Except the creators of the cartoon had a fucking expert on Chinese languages who said, no, this is totally the way they say it in the cartoon is the way that it would be pronounced in an Asian language.
Yes. And that's really messed up that he sits there and defends these poor choices like it was his right to change it like that. And sure, dude, you're a director. I get it. And that's dandy. You can make decisions. But your decisions were poor. You made poor decisions. Own it. At least some directors, like, I'm trying to think of a good example. Like, George Lucas will never admit to anything in the prequels, but he will admit that like animated movie about fairies, Strange Magic.
Yeah,
he will admit that was bad,
and he admits Howard the Duck was bad.
Yes, I still love Howard the Duck because that's one that I will just get messed up and watch. Because why shouldn't I do that? It was on Netflix 2 years ago. I was binge every day. I was watching Howard the Duck because I earned that.
It has duck tits.
It has duck tits. Woo!
Didn't get an R rating because they weren't real.
Because they weren't real tits. They were puppet tits.
You
don't get an R rating for puppet tits, which I'm going to remember that.
You do get an R rating for puppet sex, as Team America taught us.
Of course. But just crazy air kung fu, flat characters, bad acting, bad casting,
penis hair.
You whitewash the entire cast,
except the bad guys, who are the lightest skinned people in the cartoon, and you cast them all as Indian, even though they're clearly supposed to be Imperial Japanese.
Yes, very clearly. You made all of these weird cultural changes. You mispronounced the names. You screwed up the ages of the characters. You screwed up the way the characters act. You screwed up the way bending works. You just didn't do anything right.
You did a horrible disservice to Harpo.
And the thing is, Harpo?
The guy who played Sokka was Jasper in Twilight, and in the riff tracks, he doesn't say anything in the first movie, so they call him Harpo. And
it's just Harpo.
He's Harpo.
Because for a second there, okay, without that explanation, I thought it was Harpo from The Color Purple.
Why isn't Harpo Marx the first Harpo you go to?
My bad. Because, damn it, I read books.
You were forced to read that book in high school, just like me.
Some books I was forced to read were good, like that and the Poisonwood Bible. But,
we'll debate that later.
That was a good book, dude.
Oh, it's a terrible book.
It's a good book. Anyway,
which one has a movie?
Fair. But no, it's just, you can't just make a movie, make all the wrong choices, and then...
pretend you didn't.
Pretend you didn't. That's wrong. You did that wrong.
And then he went on to make Devil, the elevator movie.
Yeah. While we still have time...
Come on, man. Evil furniture, that's Stephen King's thing.
Yeah, come on, man. Like, get it together. Inanimate objects.
Stephen King will definitely take you now. He's got Idris Elba on his team.
So, while we still have a few minutes left, let's discuss an adaptation that each of us particularly, enjoys.
Yes. I have chosen my favorite adaptation of anything, which is the Speed Racer movie.
Yes! Alright. I'm just going to let you go off on this.
Okay. A bunch of people will debate me and say that Speed Racer sucks, and they're absolutely wrong, because they're coming at it from the wrong angle. They see Speed Racers by the Wachowskis. What they're expecting is the Wachowskis' version of Speed Racer. But what we got was, what the Wachowskis are huge Speed Racer fans. They created a love letter to the franchise that was as close to a live-action version of that ridiculous, awful cartoon.
Yes, that was the point!
Speed Racer is garbage. I love
terrible.
it, but it's garbage.
And you know what?
I
love it.
Is exactly the same. Because you know what?
Beautiful.
If I had gotten a dark, Matrix-y Speed Racer, there probably would have been cool races, and there probably would have been some, funny, unintentional dialogue. I would not have gotten John Goodman suplexing a ninja.
Boom. We want that.
I want that.
Why don't we want that?
I just want John Goodman to suplex things. I want there to be an extended cut of frickin' the Blues Brothers. 2000, where he just suplexes a cop.
Or like the Big Lebowski, where he just...
Yeah, Walter when they
boom!
You see what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass and he suplexes the car.
Yeah, boom! Why isn't that... Yeah, John Goodman smash! I want that.
Oh, brother, we're out there. He suplexes the giant KKK rally, just the whole thing, scoops it up like Paul Bunyan, slams it down on the ground, and then the cross still falls off.
I feel like it also has to be like a classic German suplex.
Yeah,
just bend back, head meet floor. That's it. Just that. It needs to do it to everyone.
But everything in that movie is perfect. The characters, one, are called the right thing. They act exactly the way they acted in the original cartoon. The races are as ludicrous and idiotic as they were in the cartoon.
Yes!
There's a race where two different cars have two separate animal launching catapults.
Brilliant!
One shoots bees, the other shoots snakes. The one that shoots snakes is owned by a man named Snake Oiler.
Snake Oiler!
And Speed Racer, his father, Pops Racer, who has no other name than Pops. He was destined to be the father of Speed Racer.
It's amazing!
And Moms. And his Trixie, who doesn't have a last name. Presumably in the future she will be Trixie Racer.
Do we know?
I don't know. And his stupid brother and his pet monkey.
Yeah, it's... What is it?
Spritle and Chim Chim.
Yeah. Scrappy and Monkey.
Yeah. This is a movie where a freaking orangutan flips off somebody.
I think it was a chimp.
Is he a chimp?
I don't remember. He is an ape.
He's a monkey in the cartoon, so I always just call him a monkey.
He's an ape. We'll say ape.
He was an ape.
Of sorts.
Because you can train an ape, you can't train a monkey. So
yeah. Well, you can train a monkey to do very simple things, not act.
Yeah. Like, I'm sure that's why Dunstan was an ape and not a monkey.
Yeah. He was an orangutan.
He was, and he checked in. Speed Racer's awesome. I can't remember which version of the Wachowskis made that film, though.
Yeah.
Was it one brother, one sister? Or were they both?
I literally have no idea.
They're sisters now, but it took place over a period of years.
Yeah. It was, all right.
Good for you, Wachowskis.
Now, I know it's a bad movie, but Flash Gordon.
That's not a bad movie.
That is a terrible movie.
That's a wonderful movie.
That is a horrible movie, Will, and you know it is.
No.
But it is brilliant.
Nothing Brian Blessed is in is bad.
Thanks for teaching an old bird to something. I can't remember. He's just a loud man. That's his entire shtick. Is Brian Blessed is a loud man. And anything he's ever in, what does he do? He's just loud as shit.
Yeah, that's why he was perfect as the ghost in Hamlet. He doesn't. He whispers loudly. It's amazing.
But just that entire movie just oozes camp, and I need it.
That movie starts, and you know everything you need to know about that movie, which is you hear,
Boom.
Who will we destroy today? Wah ha 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 ha. Flash!
Ah! The fact that Queen...
They only ever did that for 2 movies. They did it for Flash Gordon and Highlander.
Done.
Equally terrible, awesome, awful movies.
Yeah, but just... Flash Gordon, you make my dreams come true. I love that
There's a football fight.
Exactly. He's the quarterback for the New York Giants, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, he's a quarterback for the Giants or the Jets. I can't remember, but he's definitely a famous NFL quarterback / comic book hero, whatever. And it just so happens that at one point there is a precious but heavy metal object in the shape of a football that he can use to swamp an entire room of dudes.
And then he freaking, throughout the movie, teams up with Ming the Merciless's daughter, James Bond, and Brian Blessed, and they crash a spaceship into a castle.
Boom. A castle that has, a giant laser on the front?
Yeah.
Has a giant laser on the front versus a guy that is essentially, honestly, is, tall. Basically, Fu Manchu meets Dark Helmet.
Yeah.
Because he's got the ring that...
Ming the Merciless is probably the second most racist character ever created.
Yeah.
Right after Fu Manchu.
Right after Fu Manchu.
But, again, that movie, there is a recording of Brian May, of Queen, playing the Wedding March as a hard rock song.
Hell yeah. Meow, 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 meow.
And then it turns evil at the end.
We need more of that in our lives. But
Yeah.
Flash fucking Gordon, savior of the universe.
I wish we lived in England, because in England that movie is given the proper respect.
Okay. I don't know if it deserves that.
It absolutely deserves it.
Look, dude, over here, I have that, sci-fi 4-pack. And anything that's packaged in any way with Dune and The Last Starfighter... You kind of have to acknowledge has a few problems.
I don't know. I own Dune and Flash Gordon individually. So.
Also, Dune. We'll just say the word Dune and people know. Sting, get out of your man diaper.
Michael, the sleeper has awakened.
That's a good place to end on.
Yes!
Thank you, folks, for listening. Please share, comment, whatever you have to do to get us out there. Keep listening. If you're watching / listening on YouTube, leave us a comment with a topic you'd like us to cover, and we'll handle it.
Yeah, that'll do it for us this week. Have a good life.